Hello everyone, and welcome to the next video. Today, I want to recommend a game that I think is just fantastic, almost from top to bottom. Now, it's not without its flaws, but overall, you really get your money's worth for this game. And it doesn't have to be as hard as you think it will, but being that it's a shoot 'em up, it will take some skill. But I can't recommend this game enough, and I have so much fun that every time I pick it up just to play a couple of levels, a couple of hours go by. So you know you got something good on your hands at that point. So today, I want to talk about Assault Android Cactus. Was a twin-stick shooter game made by Team Witchbeam, and it was initially made for Microsoft and Xbox. But it eventually made its way to PlayStation 4, the 1S and 1X, and the Nintendo Switch, and now all versions of the game have received the update to become Assault Android Cactus Plus, and this includes all the extra free DLCs that they added to the game, so like some costumes, extra EX modes, and whatnot. And this game was made in Unity engine before Unity went through its whole tribulations with its CEO trying to charge ridiculous amounts of money per download. They did a fantastic job, in my opinion, with this game. It looks good, it plays really well, and it has a lot of things going for it that I think lots of people would enjoy, but I don't think people have heard enough about the game. So I want to try and get as much information out as I can about it. First off, let's start with the story. Now, these types of games, you don't really need anything super deep, nor do you need anything that's gonna hold people's attention for ridiculous amounts of hours with an epic story. The whole plot revolves around Cactus, who is a space cop, is going to check on a distress beam, and when she gets to the ship, it starts firing at her. And even though her superior is telling her to back off, she decides to ram her ship into the bigger ship, and then she learns that the AI that controls the ship has gone completely haywire, and it's commanded the 4 robot overlords that run the ship to go against their humans, and now it's up to Cactus and the other androids that she finds on the ship to fight back and take control. And that's pretty much the whole story. There's no extra twists or turns, really. It's just you need to get to the end and stop the AI from going crazy. Now next, I want to talk about the gameplay, which is really the selling point of this whole game. Since this game is a twin-stick shooter, you move with your left stick, and you aim with your right stick, and you hold down trigger to fire. And it's just continuous fire, or you can just tap the trigger, but really you're just going to keep your finger down for the whole time so you get as many shots off as possible. Now this game also doesn't have a dedicated dodge button, but your characters have a main and a secondary, and whenever you tap the left trigger to activate your secondary weapon, your character does this little spin jump that kind of acts like a dodge on its own, so you can jump over some bullets, and it gives you just a small amount of invulnerability, but it's only good in very tight situations, and even if you do it correctly, you could still jump into some bullets. So you have to use it carefully, and it's not always a guaranteed out. Now, all of your gameplay revolves around getting points, since this is an arcade style game. So you want to kill your enemies as soon as possible while keeping your combo alive until the end of the wave. This can be very difficult sometimes, especially whenever you're entering the stage for the very first time. But as with these games, the more you play them, the more you memorize the patterns, the easier it becomes, and you can start shooting for the higher ranks at the finish of the level. And for me, that loop is played out really well in this game, because I always find myself trying to shoot for S+ on the level, and I'll miss it by getting hit or taking unnecessary damage or dropping my combo. And this game really gets me in that mode of just one more time. I guarantee if I just try it one more time, I can get that S. So it's really good at least for me, hooking me into wanting to play it more and really shoot for the high score. Now while you're in the middle of the wave, when you destroy enemies, they drop little white blocks on the ground. You pick those up, and those act as your power up. The more you collect, the stronger your weapon gets, and it usually maxes out at about level 3 is where your main hits. And most of the time it increases the damage, or depending on the kind of weapon it is, it may add some extra shots or increase rate of fire. These white blocks also count as adding to your shield. Every time you take a hit, you'll lose a piece of your shield until eventually your android goes down and you have to hurry up and tap the button to revive. And it really is a good system to keep you moving around and trying to keep your combo going so that you can get as many blocks, get your weapon back up, and make sure that you stay in the fight. The next feature of your gameplay revolves around the battery system. Now, your android runs on batteries, so you have to destroy a certain amount of enemies and a battery will pop up, so you just have to go and collect it. Your battery helps if you ever get knocked down. You can revive yourself by tapping the gun button, so just hitting right trigger, and when you get back up, you'll get a full shield and you can go back to fighting. But if your battery drains out, you lose the entire level. So you have to balance getting your points, picking up the power up, and trying to make sure that you get the batteries, because they can disappear, which can leave you in a very bad spot. The power-ups in the game are also, I think, well balanced. You have red, which drops 2 extra drones that give you extra firepower. You have a yellow that gives you little digital angel wings and you move around faster, and depending on which android you're playing, your main weapon may fire faster or just have a higher spread. And then you get the blue power-up, which acts as a shutdown, and anything that's on the screen at the moment gets hit with a blue wave and shuts down, and it'll take extra damage from whatever you're shooting at it. Each one is useful in any stage, and you have to be a little strategic about which ones you want to use, but also certain androids can make better use of different power-ups at any given time, so you need to be careful about when you use them and make sure you're using the correct ones for your android. Now, in the game there are 5 zones, and each zone has about 5 stages with a boss battle at the end. The stages are varied, and depending on the zone you're in, they could have their own gimmicks. For example, one stage will build the floor underneath you as you move, so you can't really see very far, and new walls and structures will pop up while you're trying to handle the robots that are coming at you. Another would be you're on a train, and so you have to deal with some lasers that pop up every now and then, so you have to use cover that you wouldn't have to use normally in other stages. And then another stage has the floor will have tiles that will light up, and if you stand on them you'll take damage, so you have to move around all while keeping control of the chaos that are the robots that are coming to destroy you. And the enemies themselves come in different flavors. You have some that are just 4-legged melee types, then some that are the same design, but instead of doing melee, they just shoot bullets. You have some flying drones. You also have some really big robots that have different weapon types attached to them. So one may shoot the ground and create a wave pattern that you have to dodge, while the other one sends out spike bombs at you. And then you have other ones that try to jump in, get close, and slam you. So there's a good bit of variety, and it makes the waves more impactful when you have to prioritize. Do I try to take down the big one, or do I need to take care of some small ones to keep my combo going so that I can take care of the big ones and make sure I try to get the highest score? The levels and the waves that they set up for them, I think, are very well done. There was only maybe 3 levels in which I felt that they really should have maybe changed the waves, because certain enemies are very hard to deal with, especially with how they drop in, especially the spike balls. The spike balls move very fast and they explode, so if they're too close to you, you'll take really big damage, and most of the time they can kill you, especially on the later levels. And so, but outside of that, I think everything is very well done, and the levels are very fun to play through, and it's fun to memorize. And once you finally understand how the waves are coming and how you're supposed to kite the robots around correctly, it's very satisfying. And to play through the levels, you get to choose between 9 different androids, each one with their own special main and secondary weapon. And the best thing is that each android really plays like their own character. Each one's main and secondary make you have to readjust how you approach the levels, and it also gives you different choices depending on which way you like to play. I have to say the character that I have the most fun with is Coral, being that she mains a shotgun and her secondary is a force field, and the shotgun when powered up just tears through enemies, even the high HP little mini bosses. And if you pair that together with the blue power up, she can pretty much take care of any enemy in about one shot. And her secondary force field is just really good. It can knock bullets away, and then anything that comes into the force field gets instantly attacked. So it's great for defense and offense. The main drawback for her is that her rate of fire is really low, so you have to balance out getting the right power up at the right time, and then making sure to use your force field at the right moment so that you can protect yourself. She's just really fun to play with, in my opinion. And having the characters being so different helps keeps the gameplay fresh. Anytime you may get bored playing your favorite character, you can just switch off to one of the other ones that maybe you don't play that often, and it just makes you have to change how you play the game a little bit, and it really just keeps the game exciting over time. And not only do you get that with the androids, you also get some extra gameplay modes like a campaign plus. So once you beat the game, you can go back through the different levels and they'll be slightly remixed. So you'll have harder enemies, different groupings and things like that. So it gives you more replay value on top of that, but also offers a better challenge. They've also added a lot of extra content, such as a gallery mode, so you can look at some fan art, official renders, or some concept art for some of the characters of the game. There's also the fantastic jukebox mode. Now, I recommend this one because the music for this game is fantastic. I mean, just listen to some of this. On top of that, you also have online leaderboards, so you can constantly upload your score and try to beat some of the high scores. Now, I will say this with a warning. There are a couple of high scores on the leaderboards that obviously someone hacked it, because there's no reason why you should be 4 million points above the next person while everyone else is sitting at like 600,000. And on top of that, they added modifiers in the game with the EX options. The EX options can change the game in various ways. One that I think everyone should turn on is the music option. It makes the music rubber band so that whenever you're doing slow-mo or whenever you have the yellow power up, the music speeds up. Other options available from the EX menu is a first-person mode. Personally, I'm not a fan of this mode at all, but it is just a fun little thing to try out. It seems more like just a little gimmick that they wanted to add in. Once again, personally, I'm not a fan of it, but it is just something fun to have. Other modes that are included in the EX that you have to buy with credit points that you get for beating levels is you can have AI follow you in. So if you're getting tired of playing by yourself, you can have some AI bots come in and help you. You can also adjust the enemy count. So instead of just getting what would be used for single player, you can turn the enemy count up to as if there are 4 players. This really changes up the game, and most of the time it becomes almost untenable by yourself. but it is just little fun things to keep you going. My favorite EX option outside of the music, though, is you get to activate mega weapons. The mega weapons are basically just hypercharged main weapons. So let's say Cactus has her machine gun. Well, instead of it being so linear, the mega weapon turns it into a massive machine gun that does ridiculous amounts of damage, and it lasts longer than her flamethrower. So you can't get a high score because the mega weapons kind of, I don't say break the game, but they do give you an advantage. But it is a fun way to just change up the gameplay from time to time. So I think they did a good job by giving you some extra things to have some fun to play around with, even though it doesn't affect the actual scoring part of the game. Now, one of the few, I guess you can call it gripes I'd have about the game is that at certain points a lot of stuff goes on screen and it's very easy to lose your character. Not that they blend in too well, but it's just that there's so much going on that it's kind of hard to find them sometimes. And on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes the spike bomb enemies in the game, they drop at very inconvenient places, and if you're trying to move around and get the level and you just end up going to the wrong spot, it's pretty much an instant death, and you'll have to restart if you're going for S+ on any level. I think the only other thing I would say is that since it is a twin stick shooter, the variety in the game isn't very wide. It's pretty much you're going into these arenas and you're shooting the robots, and that's about it. You'll have some daily stuff that you can do, but even then it's just an endless mode, and even the endless mode in the game can become very tiresome. But it is a game that I don't think you're meant to play it for super long stints of time. Really, you're just supposed to get a couple of hours in, have your fun, and then go do something else. And with all that said, I definitely recommend this game to anybody. It's a very fun, very fast, very satisfying game. It's something you can just pick up and play, do a few levels, and walk away. Or if you're like me, you just get sucked in trying to get that next high score or beating your personal best, and you just end up playing it for 2-3 hours sometimes. The other good thing is that since this is an old game, it's from 2016, the price point for it isn't very bad. At $15, you get a lot of game for that, but it goes on sale all the time. So you can find this on Steam, even on Nintendo Switch or PlayStation. They're always knocking it down to about $5 or less than $5. So definitely, if this goes on sale and you find it, pick it up. It is a very fun game. I wish Team Witchbeam would make more stuff, but I don't think they're a team anymore. Sadly, it's been so long. So I just think this is a gem that everyone should play. It's just really fun. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much. If you liked it, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more of this content, I'm planning on making more. Please subscribe. It'll help out the channel. And don't forget to comment below whatever you liked, whatever you didn't like. If you want to suggest some more games like this that you think I might like, or if you want to tell me why my taste is so bad, just let me know. I'm always willing to talk with anybody. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Later.